Hey everyone, welcome back to The Local Youth Worker, a podcast brought to you by Reformed Youth Ministries. I'm your host, John Parrott. We are about to kick off Season 6 next week, as our season theme will be post-pandemic productivity, helping others re-enter life and ministry. We know these are crazy, bizarre times, as everyone has said ad nauseum. The church is going through so much that it hasn't been through before. And at the recording of this podcast, things are still fairly shut down. We know in certain places people are starting to get back to normal. Restaurants are opening up. Churches are opening up, in phase one in some places. Still a lot of caution out there. We don't know when things will get back to normal. We don't know what normal is going to look like, but we assume people are going to be getting back to schedules that are somewhat normal. And I assume as well there's going to be an eagerness from many as they get back into ministry to just dive in headfirst and to start doing things and start meeting with people and to try to get back to pastoring students or pastoring adults and just the normal context. And so there might be just this busyness that we dive back into. And so what we hope to accomplish in this Season 6 of the podcast as we look at post-pandemic productivity, we hope to help foster some wisdom as we try to re-enter into this season, whatever that's going to look like, to re-enter in a wise way. Tim Challies had an article talking about a do-over and him discussing how God has really removed so much in our lives right now that we have time to stop and think about, okay, what do we want to add back to our lives as we re-enter culture? And I think it's a helpful article for us to reflect on. And so we'll be beginning this Season 6 with Tim Challies as a guest. We'll be discussing that article a little bit. We'll be talking about some cautions, possibly on, even evaluating our personal lives and ministry lives of what that could look like. And we'll talk about productivity as Tim has written on that. We'll also have Reagan Rose of the Redeeming Productivity blog and podcast as well, talking to us about productivity and what that should look like from a Christian perspective. So we'll be reflecting on that. We'll also be reflecting on rest. Author A.J. Swoboda, who wrote the book Subversive Sabbath, will be joining us to talk about what it means to Sabbath, what it means to rest. We know that can be a controversial topic for many, but it's a gift from God, and hopefully seeing it as that, and his conversation will be helpful for many of us. We're also going to be talking to other youth workers and local churches, possibly even some senior pastors of churches, and just trying to hear from them how they're processing this whole re-entering time, this phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, whatever that might look like, and how that's going to impact ministry. So hopefully this 6-part series, it might be a little bit longer, will just help us all gain wisdom from each other and sharpen each other of what life might look like. And we hope that as we re-enter again, that we maybe by God's grace have a little bit of a greater balance on work and rest, on soul care as we enter back into what can be just busyness. How we just it can be so hard, as we've said on this podcast, just to slow down and to be still. And so hopefully this pandemic can teach us some of that, and hopefully just through some of the conversations on this podcast that it can help you with that. Our aim, as always, at Reformed Youth Ministries is to serve the local church. And so we hope this podcast will do that in this current season that we're in, and that you'll benefit from these conversations. That's our hope and our prayer. So be looking for, again, episode 301 that will be starting next week with Tim Challies talking about this do-over as we kick off this post-pandemic productivity season. Have a good day.
Oh, come and buy without money. Oh, come and feast without